I would very much like that.
Eve, you're getting dragged outside.
No, please.
I'm on my way right now to your house. Actually, no, I'm in your
No.
house. I'm Nejma. It's so nice to hear both your voices. Okay. I'm ready to indulge myself in Spider-Verse. Steven, are you eating?
Have I seen it, you said?
No, I said, are you eating?
Oh, am I eating? No.
Oh, okay, carry on.
I wish.
I started rolling about 10 seconds ago, by the way.
Oh, so we're just...
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Haters Without a Cause. I'm here with two returning guests. In this corner, we have Steven. Steven, say hi.
Hello, hello.
He's back from... Man, we haven't seen you since the Korra episode.
That's true.
And Tesana is back as well from the 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐾𝐈𝐀, which is only 2 episodes prior, but it feels like forever ago.
I'm back. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Yes, we have a very special topic today. We are talking about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the long-awaited sequel to 2018's Into the Spider-Verse. My favorite movie ever. I thought we could go in a circle, give a quick blurb of what we thought about the movie, and then we can discuss in detail. Oh, and by the way, people who haven't seen it, we are going to spoil the fuck out of this movie. So if you haven't seen it, go see it, unless you don't care about spoilers, in which case, I mean, you should probably still see it, but like,
Yeah.
if you want to hear the discussion before watching it, that's weird, but you know, you do you. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah. We haven't been here in a while, so guess.
So, I loved it. Honestly, it might be my favorite movie of all time. I'm not gonna lie. And that's a hard like thing to place because I don't think I've ever had a specific favorite movie until now after watching this.
So 0 out of 10, you hated it. That's what I'm hearing.
Yep, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Tess, what about you?
I absolutely loved it. I will say right now that Into the Spider-Verse is already my favorite because I did not know that Miles Morales was a character, and I also did not know that there was a difference between the spectacular, amazing, and ultimate Spider-Man. So that even made it better. But I wish I knew about Miles when I was younger because I would have collected all the comic books. So just to see the Across the Spider-Verse and see all these other Spider characters introduced, not introduced, but being remembered basically. They're introduced to people that don't know much about the comics, who knew more about the games and the movies and whatnot. Even the PlayStation Spider-Man was in there, and it's fucking funny. I'm kind of hoping that the PlayStation Miles will also be in there at some point. But I overall love the movie. I love the colors. I loved every design. I love how he made every universe look very unique.
Yeah. I guess I'll go next. Into the Spider-Verse has a very special place in my heart. It's not even mainly for, because even though I'm mainly like writing focus, it's mainly like what it does with animation and style and just the way that it chose to tell its story. Because the story on its own it's your basic like superhero origin story, but the way they chose to go about it is so like fresh and new, and I just love every second of it. I think it's very inventive and creative and full of heart, and it just shows a lot of love and passion for Spider-Man as a franchise. So I think that one will always be my favorite, but that said, this movie is still spectacular. Like, it ups everything. the action, the comedy, the emotional moments. It is great, and they double down on the animation and the blending of art styles in this one too. It's actually incredible, and I have a new appreciation for Spider-Gwen, the character, because
Mhm.
I think this movie does excellent things with her, but we can get into that later.
Okay, yeah, I got some stuff to say about it too. Wait, Eve, would you say instead of spectacular, would you say the movie was ultimate? Because Miles is the ultimate Spider-Man.
There are a couple words you can use, like amazing, spectacular, ultimate. My only hope, the only thing keeping it from being a 10 out of 10 is I hope to see Japanese Spider-Man, the
And
emissary from
beyond.
hell.
Oh God, I'm sorry. Wait, there's a lot of Spider-Man characters in the comics that are very scary, and I'm pretty sure they're like one-shot comics. But did you know there's a Spider-Man that uses his veins instead of webs?
I did not know this.
His
There's
veins?
also there's also one that dies from Sandman, and Sandman's lines are literally, "Oh, you want me to eat this? How about you eat this?" And then no, he's like, you're gonna eat me, eat this." And then like he puts his whole body, he shoves
I
himself into Spider-Man as sand, and then rips him open and
I've seen
kills him.
that.
Yeah.
Oh
Um.
God, he wasn't in the movie, was he?
No. And I'm sorry. There's also one more. There's also another one where I think Spider-Man's all his fluids are basically like I guess venom or something. So he wound up killing Mary Jane. He wound up killing her after having sex with her.
Disease come.
That I did
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
There's a lot of fucked up Spider-Man that we have in the
A
universe.
lot
It's
of
kind of
fucked
scary.
up Spider-Man stories.
Yeah. But okay, please let's indulge. Let's dive in.
I saw that there was a fake doppelganger Spider-Man in the Spider Society, and people were like, "How the hell did like he end up joining this group of
I
spider
didn't
people?"
I didn't see him in the movie, but he's probably there. But I think I know which one you're talking about. He was in like the animated TV series where it's like he fused with Carnage or something.
Yeah.
Oh God.
There's a lot of people I didn't notice in the theater, but
Yeah.
like people have pointed out like there's a plush Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Huh? Is he alive or is he just a plush?"
I don't know if he's in the movie, but symbiote Spider-Man is also a character as well, and I feel like he should be he should be added. Um, I know that he's like in a trailer of one of the games, but I looked at his comic today, and like it's like what if Peter Parker never took off the symbiote suit? Symbiote suit
Mhm.
makes him angry, and it makes him like basically evil, but it's also very strong. It's power, but madness basically comes with it.
Yep.
So that's interesting.
Something else I didn't know is that the Lego Spider-Man, he's actually toy sized. Like he's an actual
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lego person. He's not this same size as everyone else. Like he's an actual
Mhm.
toy,
He
And
was
he's one of the
also
best.
which makes it
yeah.
even more
His
hilarious that Miguel said he's one of their best guys.
exactly that part was also animated by I think a 14-year-old.
Yep, I heard
Yes.
that
This is
too. It was like
amazing.
5 months before the movie was released. I was like, that is incredible.
I love that so
It
much.
looks like something out of the Lego movie.
Yeah, the boy has been going places.
I heard that he made a Lego version of the first trailer and it caught their
Mhm.
attention and they were like, "You're making a scene in the movie for us."
I think if I'm correct, they brought this up and everything, brought his setup and everything for it too.
Yeah. Honestly, good for him.
Yes, yes, yes.
But to discuss the movie, okay, so there are a couple ways we can go about it. Um I thought we could go either scene by scene. We won't like break it down entirely like we did with Mandela and Lackadaisy because we'd be here forever. Or we could
Yeah.
go character by character.
Um. Hmm. I kind of like the idea of character by character. Oh, what were you about to say, Steven? Sorry.
No, I was going to say character by character.
Yeah, I like the idea of character by character. I have
Character
some
by
things to
character?
say about yeah, I have some things to say about Miles Morales when we get to him, the Prowler one.
Okay.
Uh,
Who do you have ideas who you want to start with?
um, do you want to start with Gwen because you want to talk about her as well? She was
Sure.
she was a really big part of part of the story as well, of course.
Yeah. I think Gwen is fantastic in this movie. I think her arc is
Mm-hmm.
great, and I would actually argue she's just as much the main protagonist in this film as Miles.
Mm-hmm.
Her she sort of spends the entire movie like avoiding consequences and avoiding like facing her own emotions. Right at the beginning, she like quits her band once her bandmates start like prying into how she feels. She feels like she can't share her identity with anyone. She's pretty much written off friendship because of the thing that happened with Peter. She's trying to like avoid the pain of losing someone. She doesn't tell her dad who she is, and it like comes back to bite her because she has to tell him at like the worst time. And
Yeah.
and you know, she says that her father is all she has left, and so when he turns on her, she pretty much leaves her dimension entirely and goes to hang out with like the only people who gave her like the first chance to escape. And she also sees it like her best bet to see Miles again, but Miles is a pariah to the Spider Society. So now her loyalty is split two ways. Um, she can't be completely loyal to both Miles and the Spider Society. They're at odds with each other.
Yeah.
And this is the only group that is keeping her from being arrested and possibly watching her dad die. So, and then when she does see Miles, she likes him and she seems open to like taking their relationship further, but she's afraid of what could happen to their fate because of what usually happens to Gwen Stacy.
Mm-hmm. He even mentions that every other Gwen fall for Miles basically.
Yeah.
That's
Whenever Gwen
never.
Stacy gets involved with Spider-Man, it doesn't end well, is pretty much what she says.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she avoids telling him as well about the Spider Society because she wants to keep their friendship, and then he finds out the hard way. And by the time she hits rock bottom, she's lost both of those loyalties that she's created.
Yeah.
But the conversation with her dad is kind of like the turning point for her, and like that's when we find out why she became a hero to begin with. Um, it's just very simple, just to do what's right, but like she spent all this time like lying to herself and lying to others, and it's left her unsure of like what the right thing even is. But now she's ready to face the consequences of her actions. Like she's going to rescue Miles whether he hates her or not. She's going to defect from Spidey Society whether it makes her a threat to canon or not, and she's doing it because it's the right thing to do. And I think it's just fantastic seeing her like struggle to do the right thing throughout the movie and seeing it all come crashing down, and then she turns around and she's like reaffirmed in why she did this all to begin with. And I'm not really cool with like the slander that she gets from a lot of the fans. A lot of people saying like she's fake or she's like a fake friend. But like you have to ignore that she has a lot on her plate in this movie.
She's in a difficult position because like now the society she has left. Her dad has the society she has left. Which is like sorry, I cut you off either. It's also like when they mentioned that I will be faced a problem. One, I feel like that's messed up because like he did not intend to inspire to fight him. But I like at first my brain was like I even nice and Quinn kind of warned him or told him, but at the same time like he's in a different predicament. It's a difficult position. Like one, how would you even say it to a friend? Someone that's more than a friend that you really love. And also, like I said, I can say all she had left. So that's perfect for him.
Yeah, and I don't want to understate, like, Miles is her first friend, like, real friend since Peter. So she's very desperate to keep that friendship.
Yeah.
And I actually talked about this with Steven, but when you think about it, Gwen has the same predicament as Miles. She has to choose between one person or the entire multiverse. But like where Miles's person is his dad, Gwen's person is Miles himself.
Yeah. Steven, you have anything to say?
I'm not gonna lie, I was trying to think what to say because
Oh,
pretty much like summarize the entire problem that Gwen's going through. But I do hate that that's not what anyone that I've seen like focused on. It was
Yep.
either people calling Gwen fake or focusing if she is trans or not because of the trans flag that I'm not going to lie, I didn't notice it the first time I saw it.
there's so many things going on here.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about that too.
Go on, Steven, sorry.
I don't know. I just wish people focused on her character and everything she's gone through instead of all this side stuff or ignoring what she's done.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, like, yes, it's our family, but I mean, if that's that thing or not. But I don't. So, towards the trans part, also, people focus on the picture too, because it's pictures now. But then no one really realizes that Gwen's whole back, her whole universe is mainly those colors. It's mainly blue and pinks. So it's of course like a great like that's going to come up. A color like that combination is going to come up. But that doesn't really mean anything. Honestly, people have flags just for like where colors representing because they're allies. But the same thing, what you said anyway, that's not something that needs to be focused on. Because at the end of the day, we really need to focus on what actually going on in her life. She lost her dad. She lost everyone. She had to kill her own best friend, who she didn't even kill. She wanted to stop it. She didn't know it was her best friend to the very end.
Yeah.
So we need to focus on her hardships and focus on what she's going through and hoping that it gets better. And focus on something that really is not relevant right now to her. Like, yes, if it is true, whatnot, her identity, whatnot, yes, it's part of her. But that's not what the movie was focusing on. That's not what we really need to focus on. If it's true, then okay, cool, whatnot. Like, yes. This is also coming, like, mind you, I am someone that is queer, and I feel like I'm also trans. But I feel like it's not something that need to really focus on. At the end of the day, it's Gwen Stacy. And Gwen Stacy, we need to focus on what's also being presented as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to like dismiss the issue because I think I said in your chat test that like her conversation with her dad at the end almost sounds like someone coming out. But besides that and the trans flag and the colors of her dimension, it's like, first of all, like I kind of feel like we need more to conclude whether she's trans or not. But also, like, if she is, that's great, but it doesn't really change anything about her story, you know?
Exactly.
Like I feel like anyone should be able to take away from a movie whatever they want. Like if her character means a lot to trans folk, I think that's fantastic. But it's just kind of annoying that like the conversation about her character always just boils down to, is she trans or not?
I actually looked up too. When I looked up trans flag, I was shown the picture, the moment, the scene where she's talking to her dad, and it was like green colors. Okay, I did see this. It does say that in the film there was a flag printed with protect trans kids, and that could be looked at as both ways. If someone wants to focus on that, could be looked as ally, and also could be looked at, okay, cool, she's trans. But like you said, it really does not change much about her character, and people are getting upset about it. That's really like. It doesn't change the fact that at the end of the day, she's Spider-Gwen and she's going through these problems. It doesn't change anything about her. It doesn't make her any less.
Yeah, if the creators came out and said Gwen Stacy is trans, I'd be like, oh, cool. I will still feel the same about the character.
Because it's like the movie, not like once again, not saying or slandering that it's her if it's true or whatnot, or if it's not. regardless, it's someone's identity, of course, yes, but it's not something that she's making it more like going to be focused on. Like, at the end of the day, yes, these characters are being written for and everything, whatnot. They're fictional characters, but in a way, these writers, basically, the writers are giving them a voice. Basically, they're not. It's not the writer's voice; it's the character's voice, and it's not something that she wants to focus on. In the movie, she wants to focus on her parent, her situation with the dad, and her having basically almost nothing and trying to find that something. And it's something that she has but to lose. She's about to lose too because she's losing Miles now.
Yeah, I guess I would like to see like an animated story that's like really well written, like tackle this topic like front on instead of just like leaving the audience to gather all this subtext and hidden allegories and things like that.
Yeah.
Anything else on Gwen? I thought her theme was really cool.
Her universe theme, whatnot, or
No, like the musical
music.
cue that comes up when she's doing Spider-Man
oh
stuff.
yes, yes.
Everyone has a distinct theme or like instrument associated with them, and I don't know, I'm a real sucker for things like that because like when you see her and Miguel and Jessica Drew all working together, all of their themes come together and it plays the Spider-Man theme. That little
Yeah.
the three note the do 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 whenever Spider-Man's doing Spider-Man stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think it's neat. I thought it was neat to listen to.
I love the storytelling with the music itself. It's like every part of this movie was sculpted from the animation telling a story to the music telling the character stories. It's like,
It's all very purposeful.
yes.
Like
Very,
I
yeah.
feel like MCU would just be like, "Oh, he's black, so he has to listen to rap music." And then they would just like drop in some rap music that already exists. But they create music
Yeah.
for this movie and they place it in like moments where it's fitting and where it
Mm-hmm.
helps tell the story.
Even like compared to Into the Spider-Verse, the what's it called? The soundtrack. Listen to the soundtrack itself compared to Into the Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse is very more like play. I feel like it was playful, but it was more music just fitting into the culture, what's going on in Brooklyn and Miles' culture as well. Listening to the playlist on Spotify constantly as I do daily. It just one second, sorry. It just everything fits. Like you listen to it literally track to track, track from track. It literally it tells a story basically through it. And I
Yeah.
think the song for Gwen in the soundtrack is "Self Love" by Coi Leray. It literally like the lyrics are like self love, not that basically talking about how Gwen is far away. Like she literally left home to find love, but then like kind of like the love that surrounded her doesn't even love himself. Basically, he's trying to love her basically, but he's not loving himself. He's not being true to himself.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of see that with Miles a little bit, where he's trying very hard to get Gwen to notice him and everything, but he also isn't being honest with himself and being open either. Um, they put a lot of work in the soundtrack this time.
That's
I mean,
really
it was a
interesting. I
lot of work
wasn't
last
even paying
time too, but
attention
this
to the
one,
lyrics.
yeah, I've been listening to the songs like over and over again, and
Same.
they are very fitting. Especially there's "Am I Dreaming" and "All the Way Live." They're back to back tracks. But if you listen, because some of the songs in the playlist actually have at the end of the songs they have scenes in them. They have uh the characters talking at the end.
Oh, you hear
But "Am I
dialogue from the
Dreaming" and
movie.
"Alive," I don't think they have those. But if you listen to "Am I Dreaming," I'm sorry, what'd you say?
It said it's like you said they have dialogue from the movie at the end of some of the songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you listen to the end of "Am I Dreaming" and let it fade into "All the Way Live," you can hear the songs basically they're mashed together. So some of the songs with that
Yeah.
dialogue as well, some of the songs actually like properly link up as well too.
Yeah, they almost like go
They did a
together.
very great job.
Yeah, Am I Dreaming has been in my playlist rent free, by the way. What do we think about what do we think of Peter B in this movie?
Who? Oh, never mind.
The one with the baby.
Cenk Hobo Spider-Man.
Sorry, you said Peter B, and I'm like,
Peter.
there was a B, and I was like, oh wait, you mean the letter?
Peter B. He's like a
Sorry,
bumblebee
go on.
Spider-Man.
Anyways, go ahead, Steven. Speak what you mind.
Interesting, because Peter B somewhat has a similar problem to Gwen in the sense of having to choose between Miles and the society, but where he's coming from is feels a lot more neutral, where he sees both sides and he's trying to communicate on both to like like we could talk things out, we could like figure out something, while that's not possible. Um, but he until the very end, for me, it feels like he's not trying to choose a side, nor does he really have a problem with that, if that makes sense.
I thought it was
There's
interesting
like,
that he has a more like optimistic view on the whole Kenneth event thing. That like just as
Mhm.
tragedy is inevitable, like good things can happen too.
Yeah.
Like his daughter, and like but you can see it throughout the series. Like Miles wasn't supposed to be bitten technically, but like he's become a great hero.
Yeah. And he wasn't even able to control the fact he was bitten. I guess this isn't a character thing, it's more on all of them, but it wasn't I don't think it's cool that it was kind of just placed on him like, oh, you weren't supposed to be bitten, but like he didn't ask for that.
Yeah, and like
No
we
no
don't.
Spider-Man actually asked for that to happen.
Yeah, that it's a freak accident. That's usually how it works.
Mhm.
And I also don't think it's
Mhm.
fair. Like we don't actually think that Blonde Peter died because Miles was there, right?
no.
No.
Like I'm pretty sure Blonde Peter was gonna die anyway. Like I watched the scene again. He is on his way to stop the collider, and then he spots Miles. He goes rescue him. He has a little chat, and then he goes to stop the collider. He's on his way to sticking the goober inside the thing, and then Prowler attacks him. So like you could say that time he spent talking to Miles, he could have stopped the collider, but I'm pretty sure Prowler attacked because he was about to stick his goober in the machine. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
Goblin
He's probably
like
already
shoved
there
his
waiting.
face into the beam, and then that's what killed him.
Mhm.
Yeah, he didn't die
So,
because he was too busy with Miles. That's not his fault.
yeah. Not at all. Um I forgot what I was gonna say.
He was just too strong to have to lie. He would have sided with Miles, I know for a fact.
Absolutely. Especially since he's played to be like the perfect Spider-Man. Of
Mhm.
course that means he had to die, but he would have sided with Miles for sure.
I really want to know how Miles throwing a bagel at Jonathan turned him into the Spot. I just thought about that.
It was like a domino
Do
effect.
we want to talk about the
He got
Spot?
hit by a bagel. He got, yes, the Spot does not. So yes, because the Spot at first he doesn't feel like a villain. Like I feel like Miguel. I guess because the whole idea of a villain, that we the most not whole idea, but I guess the standard idea, the ideal idea is the fact that villains are supposed to be scary and whatnot. The Spot is just a comedic villain, and it's I like him a lot. I think he's pretty cool compared to the comics. He's he's pretty funny. It's completely different. I think in the comics he's a lot more menacing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until he became that dark Spot I was like, oh shit, this is crazy actually.
Yeah, what I find interesting about the Spot is that like he's not interested in world domination. He doesn't have like this deep
Mm-mm.
menacing voice. He's just a regular guy. He's
Mm-hmm.
just a guy who's just trying to get by after he had his life ruined by Miles. I mean, that's how he sees it anyway. But like he pretty much shows like when you ruin someone's life and then you start treating them like a joke, that's a very strong motivator for them to sort of up the ante in terms of like getting back at
Yeah,
you. And of course,
Mhm.
he's a scientist, so he has the means to try and make himself more powerful. And
yeah,
you're going to want to give that person incentive to start taking you seriously. And, you know, once he has the means and the motivation, he gives Miles a very, very compelling reason to start taking him seriously. And we're kind of with Miles at the same time when he has like the oh shit moment, like this guy's not joking around. Because when we're introduced to him, he's just kind of like he's a D-lister. Like he has trouble even like robbing the store. We're not taking him
mhm,
seriously. And by the time we do, it's like it's too late. He's a multiversal threat. And when you think about it, it's like it's kind of tragic. Like he has no home, he has no family, he has nothing left to live for. Like Spider-Man is all he has left, and he wants to make sure that Spot is all Miles has left.
yeah.
I thought he was great. He made quite the impression
Like,
just because of how personal their conflict is. Like when you think about Kingpin in the first movie, he's
hmm
just sort of acting regardless of Miles. Like Miles has to sort of interfere and stop his plans, but the Spot
yeah,
is acting because of Miles.
yeah.
Honestly, I feel like the spot's the main reason I'm really excited for the next movie. Cause like I'm excited for, Prowler Miles and then the rest of the Spider-Verse stuff. But I feel like it's really the spot that's gonna be like the climax of all of it.
Honestly, I agree with you because honestly, we don't even know. For all that, we might know there's like part of me that thinks that Prowler Miles might be kind of a good guy, and that's like hinted at some of the colors, kind of. But at the same time, we don't know that. But I feel like he's going to have a change where he's like, even though Brooklyn definitely is on fire in the background, but I really feel like there's going to be a thing where they have to team up and they have to. It's just this is fate. It has to be like that kind of thing.
Yeah, he's
Maybe the
he's the
camera
greater
is them
scope
meeting
villain
better.
here.
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested to see more because when I heard he was gonna be in this movie, I thought he was just gonna be like the act one, like the intro villain. It's kind of like what Vulture was in this movie, like the intro villain
Yeah.
that he beats, and then the rest was gonna be Miguel. I wasn't expecting him to
Yeah.
be like the big threat to everything, but oh my god, I'm really glad that's what we got because I think this this movie made the Spot really really cool. Like even if you just look at its design, like it's hard to tell in motion, but there are some frames where like Spot was designed to look like an incomplete character drawing. You can see like sketch marks around him and things like that. And like his portals, they're just ink blots. And then when he
Mm,
becomes Super Spot or whatever, he's just all ink. And the way he moves, like that little animation with his hand like flicking in two different directions, it's it's really bizarre to look at. And they really sell that like this is someone who, because this movie blends art styles a lot, but it still manages to make the characters look like they fit in whatever dimension they end up in. But like the Spot,
yeah.
he looks like he doesn't fit in anywhere, and that's perfectly like fitting for this character.
Honestly, I love his development through in the beginning he had very little control of his powers, didn't really know what to do. But as he was fighting Miles, he's slowly learning his own abilities. And we see that like development as he fights. Like even before he became the big blob or like big black like spot thing, he
Mm-hmm.
was like, he had like a fighting chance against multiple spider people.
Oh yeah.
Like he
When they were fighting him in India, he was giving them a hard time cuz when you have complete control over portals, like you're pretty much unstoppable. Ironically enough, he's a good example of why you shouldn't just like give your characters complete control over portals without being very, very, very careful. This is something that like the MCU has failed to get about like Doctor Strange.
Mhm.
He doesn't need all of his spells. Like the portals alone, they're gonna get the job done. Cause you can be anywhere, you can transport anything you want, you can cut people with it. They're extremely useful. They're like the only power you need. So this movie was smart enough to give it to a villain. That's one. And two, um, he uses it in like every possible way you can think of. Like, there's a scene where he enters 𝐒𝐿𝐾𝐈𝐀 and he's just kind of stepping through portals. He's walking normally, but he's using the portals to like get places faster. He like gets all the scientists out of the room. He uses portals just to like push a button easier. I'm like, damn. He's gotten really good with it.
What I really love is how I feel like this movie has changed who Spot is, like, completely. In the sense of everyone saw him as a joke in both animated shows or comics or anything. He was never a good or like a high tier villain. It's similar to how in MCU the Avengers, they were just like C-list D-list like heroes like Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Captain
Mm-hmm.
America. They were nobodies until the first MCU Avengers movie, and then it got really popular. People loved them, and now they're like the focus of Marvel basically. And I feel like that's going to be similar to the Spot, where he's going to be like the next Thanos in a sense.
Yeah, this movie is definitely gonna change like his cultural image. I'm sure a lot of people, if they didn't think he was a joke, they probably never heard of him. I definitely didn't. Um, but yeah, in universe and out of universe, people are taking him a lot more seriously.
I think it's funny because I don't think he was originally supposed to be in the movie. At least he he was suggested by some, I want to say producer or director or something, who
Mm-hmm.
worked on previous movies. Like he was this, I want to say producer. I forget his role, but he was the reason like why Venom was in Spider-Man 3 and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. And some people have mixed feelings about that. Like, they didn't like it. They wish Venom wasn't a part of it. The original director didn't want Venom to be a part of it either because they didn't really know much about Venom. But since Venom was getting popular, like, add him in. And so the same producer decided to put the Spot as a villain in the movie. And I feel like it sort of just got lucky that it worked out.
Yeah, because I
I
heard
don't
they
know.
said no at first. They were reluctant to do it. They were like, no, the Spot's lame.
Yeah. So it's like hit or miss. And now I feel like a lot of more people are going to go to this producer or something for more ideas. Um, while like ignoring the mistakes he's made in the past about like, if something should be included or not.
I think it's paid off
But
for them.
yeah.
Let's talk about. Oh, you guys want to talk about Hobie
My
Brown,
king.
the
Oh, I
Spider
love
Punk?
that man. Spider Punk.
Yeah, he's a fan favorite. I think for very good reason.
Yeah. He.
What?
mm, I
Go
wish to
ahead.
see more of his abilities, honestly. But I know the one thing I was good. Like he's a great character. I was really confused at the one part where he was telling a story. They kept his face hidden, and I was like, why is Spider Punk's face such a like hidden thing? I don't know if they were like trying to hide how they designed him this time, that was like even the comics, his face has been revealed in the comics too. So I was just like confused as why they like when he was shown they had put an X over him, and I was very confused about it.
Oh, during his intro, his "Let's do this one more time."
I feel like that was
Yeah.
maybe like a joke.
I thought that
In the
was a joke.
comics, we do see his face. His face, he looks completely different in the comics. So I'm really happy with his
Yeah.
like design.
You think I'm
Yeah.
gonna show you my secret identity?
His accent was amazing too.
Ah, he's
British.
voiced by the guy from Get Out, and I didn't know that till after I saw the movie. He's fantastic.
I love it.
I love how he's almost introduced as like a almost romantic rival to Miles.
Mhm.
And then we meet him, and they let us know right away, like, no, he's just that cool. That's why Gwen
Yeah.
likes him. It's nothing romantic. She was just hanging out with him because he's just a great guy.
Yeah.
There are
He's a
people
good
that
friend.
think that there are people that think because they because he turns pink sometimes around Miles that he likes Miles, and I was like, now you guys are looking a little too into the colors.
He just doesn't
Not
believe
everyone's
in
gonna like each other.
consistency.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like
That's why his
it
design's
was
always
maybe just
changing.
randomized.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I heard it took like 2 years just to animate Hobie alone. I was like, damn.
I
It
feel
it was more like it took 2 years to figure out how they want to animate him.
yeah.
Because his animation style is completely different from everyone else. Like everyone's animated on like 2 or 1 frames per second, while he's animated on threes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like every other frame he changes into a completely new model because he looks like a zine cutout. He has his own like his own little like pastel box around him. It's
hmm
insane.
It's also cool that like because I was saying, speaking of the box, he's the only one like besides like Penny and like Spider Noir, he's like the only one that actually keeps his like comic book I want to say his own outline around him. Like it was at first it took me a very long time to get used to looking at him because he kept how much his outline was just I feel like it wasn't overshadowing him, but it was definitely a lot. It was a lot of color going on around him basically, which I also see why they changed the colors on him so many times with the consistency. But he just like overall I feel like he was the only one that did. He just every universe he went to, he did not look like. Of course, you could tell he did not belong to it. Basically, because he kept his like box cut out, basically looking
Yeah,
around him,
his
and
outline
I
is
found
very
that very
bold
interesting.
He
because he's
seems like the
someone who
type of
doesn't
guy.
belong. He breaks
Yeah,
boundaries.
He's the type of Spider-Man to go into the Lego Spider-Verse, and he's the only one that looks completely like the same, while everyone else turns into Lego versions.
yeah.
he's just he's just human size, and then everyone becomes a toy.
Um, this is completely off topic of him. I apologize because I will only saying this because in case I lose him, I just found it out that it was interesting to me. I was looking up Spider because Spider Gwen, her name we call her Spider Gwen. You know her actual like her alias is actually Ghost Spider,
Ghost
and the
Spider.
reason because of that is because all of her alternate selves died.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know it's because they died. I thought they just want to give her a cool name.
I was looking at the wiki because Peter Parker. There's a Ghost Spider for Peter Parker, and then a Ghost Spider like he has. I think he has a skull mask or something like that. Because Spider Gwen's actually alias eventually becomes Ghost Spider. I think it's like after she. It says something about after she gets a little like something about her dimension. I guess honestly, I feel like Gwen Stacy has already been Spider Dimension, like not Spider Dimension hopping because we have Spider Gwen and then we also have Gwenpool as well too. Like there's also Gwenpool, which I actually want to see some of that too one day. Maybe Marvel will do something with Deadpool too. Like not like kind of similar, but like of course its own thing. But yeah, her name is Ghost Spider because a lot of all her alternate selves died.
Wouldn't it be cool if we saw alternates of Gwen in the next movie?
A what? Alternate Gwen?
Yeah,
That would be cool.
maybe
They were
I
Gwenpool
just
can
mean,
be one
I
of them.
if
the
I'm
thing with
correct, guys
Gwenpool
here.
though.
I'm sorry. What'd you say? Sorry.
The thing with Gwenpool though is that she's not like Gwen Stacy. Her name just happens to be Gwen, and she just happens to be blonde as well.
That part I did not know that
And she
actually.
happens to wear
Okay.
white and pink.
Yes, it just
She
happened.
She just
Alright
looks
then.
completely like Gwen.
Gwenpool's character is like she's from our universe, like she's from real life, and now she somehow got trapped into the comic universe, and she knows everything's a comic, and so that's
Oh,
why she's able to do so much like fourth wall breaking.
gotcha.
She's Gwen Stacy. I'm Gwen
Yes, it
Stacy.
says
We're
we're all
both
good. It says
Gwen
her name is
Stacy.
actually Gwendolyn Poole.
I wonder, like, what kind of existential crisis Gwen had to go through learning that, like, so many versions of her have died.
Oh God. I ah that must. I mean, she
Be
knows, of
interesting.
course. She
Yeah,
knows
it
because
sounds
she
like she's
definitely
accepted it all.
like she mentioned it to She mentioned it to him to Miles. Well, so she knows, of course.
She
I
has
guess that
to.
really that makes her afraid of just loving. Honestly, it makes her afraid of being loved, kind of thing, or just afraid of falling in love. I think she just feels like she's going to die then. And it was just interesting to me because I forgot that I keep forgetting that like Mary J. There's comics and there's the movies where Peter and Mary J get together. There's also where Gwen Stacy gets together, and I have to remember which movie was which because now I remember that she like kind of broke her back and Jesus Christ. I was like, damn, that's kind of crazy. Like, she's not allowed to live.
No, she's a canon event.
She is a canon event.
Can I? Do you guys mind if I jump again? If you guys don't mind,
No, go ahead.
Yeah, let's,
can I?
you pick the topic.
My favorite Spider Woman is Silk. I need to learn more about her, but I want to know. Like, I really am confused of why she hasn't been brought in. Like, I really hope she could be in Beyond the Spider Verse or something like that because she's a great character, and I feel like she needs a lot more recognition. Like, it's to the point where I am ready to cosplay her, but add my own twist to it now. But like, I'm probably gonna cosplay her this year and add my own twist to it. But like, Silk is a great character that does not get talked about, and I feel like she should have been another Spider Woman inside of Spider Verse because we don't have a lot of Spider Women that are shown. We have Jessica Drew and we have Spider Gwen right now. We don't get the other Spider Women that are actually in the series in the comics or so. Well, I mean, we also have Margot. My bad, I can't forget Spider Bite and Mayday.
She gets forgotten about a lot, and that makes me sad because I thought she was cool.
Yeah, I don't know like. Because if I'm looking it up, we have Jessica Drew, May Parker, which is Mayday. There's a Martha Franklin. There are a
There
couple
Martha
was,
of credit
Franklin.
is she Spider,
these characters.
UK?
Martha Franklin is it doesn't say what she is. It just says she's a Spider Woman. She looks pretty dope. Oh, I can't forget. We also got Sun Spider, the one that uses her. That's disabled. She's
Yeah,
paraplegic. Is that a
yeah.
better word? Yes, we have her. She's pretty dope.
She's a
She's
Spider
dope. The fact that
Sona.
she uses her. Yeah. What happened?
She's a canonized Spider Sona, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, really
Yeah.
cool.
Most of the Spider Women, though, there's a lot of Gwen Stacy's and then a lot of Jessica Drews. There's multiple different Jessica Drews in different Earths, and then there's multiple Gwens in different Earths. But we only get like a few. We get few Mary Janes, but then we also have Silk, who's just not talked about at all.
I
I
think,
wish I really like Silk as well.
yeah, I like her
Um,
design, but, like, isn't her thing, like, she was bitten by the same spider as Peter, and so they're, like, linked to each other, meaning that they're horny
yeah,
for each
Yeah.
other constantly.
yes.
Oh, that part I didn't know.
I
I
would
didn't know that part. I thought they were just more so intact to each other.
I hope that's something if they ever decide to introduce Silk is something they retcon where she doesn't get horny. Like keep the same spider bite, but
Just
get
be
rid of
normal
the
about it.
yeah.
Yeah. Cause like I knew that I like her backstory. Like she was trapped for a while. Spider Man came and saved her, and she did not like him. And it turns out like she wound up coming to like him, basically, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd like to see Silk in the next movie.
I would love to see her.
Which one is if you have the like wiki or something like Annie Parker, is that one spider bite?
That's
Oh no,
Margot
Penny Parker
Tess.
is I forgot about Penny too. Spider Bike is Margot
Okay.
Freeze. She's the African American one.
No,
Is
Annie
it
Parker. She's
Annie Parker?
yeah, Annie. She's the
Yeah.
daughter of Peter and MJ. In a different universe where the two of them get married, and I think it was called Renew Your Vows or something.
Mhm.
I've heard that
And
one. It's popular.
Okay.
I really loved it. Like, I feel like this is what the main Peter should be, where he's finally able to settle down, start a family, and not only that, it's a spider family. Like,
Yeah.
somehow Peter's able to share his powers with MJ, and their daughter has powers, and they go out as a spider group and like fight crime.
Yeah.
And I just love the Annie, are you okay jokes.
Oh, I'm looking.
They broke canon.
We're gonna. I'm definitely gonna go back to Spider Verse. Like I'm just looking at the wiki with Silk and everything. I'm learning about more of these women spiders that I guess that I did not see. Now I'm learning that there's a lot more than I actually thought there were. Because besides, there's a comic where the Spider Women are basically fighting together. They're all the Spider Women in Earth 65. They're all fighting together in Earth 65 together. There's a one named Anna Corazon.
Yes. She wears
She's
like all black or
really cool.
something.
What happened?
She wears like all black, similar to
No, she's
Symbiote.
wearing goggles. She wears goggles. She doesn't wear a mask. She wears goggles.
Interesting.
Her name is Anya. Her name is Anna Anya Sofia Corazon. Her alias is Arana. Aranya. I want to say
Araña.
Aranya. Is that? I don't know what that means.
Oh, that means
Oh,
spider in Spanish.
it's a type of. Oh, what happened?
Araña is spider in Spanish.
That's pretty dope. Yeah. Hmm. This turned into a whole more of a Spider Woman podcast. Now. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. But to bring it back to Spider-Verse, because there's one more topic I like all three of us have input on since you have limited time, Tess.
Oh yeah.
Do we want to talk about Miguel, and then that'll sort of lead into the conversation about canon and his canon event theory?
Yes, please, Miguel.
Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099.
Did you know that they had to slim his butt down?
Are you serious?
Yeah,
They
his
Yo,
butt was
CGI'd
a
it out.
lot bigger. Yeah, it was a lot bigger, and they were like, hold on, like it's a bit too
he's
big.
been thick.
But he's still thick in the movie.
He's thick.
Exactly.
They need to release release the ass cut.
Oh my god! Oh my gosh! Well, maybe because real quick, maybe they will because there's actually alternate versions of Spider Verse that's been released in the theaters, so everyone sees something differently. But
Yeah.
sometimes if you go back and see it again, you might see things because there's one where I forgot her name, but his the assistant takes a
Lila.
picture of him or pulls a picture of him. Yeah, Lila. She pulls up a picture with him with a bunny outfit on, and there's also one where like she just sits down, kind of.
I'm pretty sure I saw the selfie one in theaters, but now I'm not sure.
I didn't see the selfie one. I know I didn't see the
Because
selfie
I
one.
watched like clips for my review.
But yes, let's talk about Miguel.
I think it's ironic that he labels Miles like an anomaly and a mistake, but like he is probably the most unlike Spider-Man of them all. And that this might be
Yeah.
intentional, but like if we're keeping with his origin in the comics, he actually wasn't even bitten. He just like genetically modified himself. He doesn't
Oh,
have
really?
yeah. He doesn't have a lot of Spider-Man powers. He just has like enhanced speed, strength, and everything else comes from his suit.
So while his suit, he's basically Iron Man, kind of.
Pretty much. Like if you see in the movie, he gets caught off guard by Vulture because he doesn't have spider sense.
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize that he does spider sense.
And I think it's neat that like he's characterized as someone who's very paranoid and tired, and because he's constantly looking out for threats because he doesn't have spider sense. And then his webs are not like they're not the traditional webbing. They're just like these hard light beams that come out of his suit. And that's something he uses to his advantage on the train, because if you notice, Miles can't really use his webs on the train because it's going so fast upwards. He tries to fire them
Yeah.
and they just kind of like fly back. but Miguel doesn't have that problem. He's able to use his webs because they're just like they're hard light.
Miguel also is more of a wolf, in my opinion. Like he made me think more of like just like a wolf character because I understand spiders can stick like more spiders more normally usually stick to things while he was ripping through stuff.
Well,
He has
doesn't Gwen call him a
claws.
vampire?
Yeah, she does.
A ninja vampire Spider-Man.
There's a vampire. Oh yeah, and he has claws and everything. So he's honestly even just learning about the fact that he has never been bitten. He's a lot more. He's a lot more less Spider-Man than anyone. Honestly, Steven said 1 second also.
Yeah, he doesn't have the Spider-Man sense of humor. He doesn't have the stickiness. He's very aggressive.
In the comic, do you know what his reason for doing this was exactly? That's like genetically modifying himself.
Well, that's what I'm interested to find out in the next movie because I have a theory that Miguel himself is an anomaly, and that's part of the real reason why the universe he went into got floomed. Because there's a point where Miles is like, "You have claws? Are you sure you're actually Spider-Man?" And Miguel doesn't actually address it.
Oh, that's true.
I guess we'll have to see, but I think he's so hard on Miles because he sees some of himself in him, and he's trying to prevent other anomalies from jeopardizing the multiverse.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense though because like him being an anomaly, literally, he's not supposed to be Spider-Man. Or he wasn't supposed to be anywhere near Spider-Man.
I have a theory that the universe he went to had a Spider-Man, and he tried to be Spider-Man too, and that's what caused it to go blah, 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 and then everyone died.
Oh wait, that wasn't his universe. His universe.
No. It was a universe where a version of himself died, but he had a family and stuff like that. So he basically replaced himself.
Oh yeah.
And it sounds a lot like Incursions from Doctor Strange 2.
Mm-hmm.
And with the No Way Home reference, I think it's safe to say that this movie is in MCU's multiverse. They are connected.
Most likely, I was gonna say, and it's also like we saw Gambino as we saw Uncle Aaron basically,
Yeah, Donald
and we
Glover.
Yeah,
Donald
Donald
Glover.
Glover. And I was telling people, I was like, look, it's a little baby Miles right there. So eventually, we will get a Miles in the MCU.
Although the one that we saw in prison, I don't think that's MCU Aaron. I think it just happens to be the same actor because Aaron in Homecoming, first of all, he didn't have the accent, but second, like he wasn't interested in like the high tech gadgets and stuff like that. I don't know if you saw that movie, but he was more interested in like petty crime. He said in the movie, I just want something to like hustle someone with. I'm not trying to send them back in time or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's still a cool reference. It's a neat detail. Something else I noticed, I thought that was really neat when Miguel is explaining the multiverse and shit like that in the black room. The first model that they use for the multiverse, instead of before it goes into like webs, it's like the blue streams. It's the exact same one from Loki.
Ooh, I actually never caught myself to watch Loki.
No, it's really bad, but I thought it was a neat
Okay.
reference.
I'll save my time, I guess. There was no hesitation. Don't was really bad.
Someone did their research. That's what I'm complimenting. This is not an endorsement of Loki. I cannot, in good conscience, recommend Loki.
You didn't like Loki?
No. That's
I
a
don't think Steven
conversation
did
for
like
another day. But
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen it.
Loki?
Miguel overall, like I feel like with Spider Verse now with Miguel, we have like basically three villains. We have Prowler, we have the Spider Society, and aka Miguel, basically to be honest, and then we have um
Spot.
Prowler. We don't, and it's like I like what I like also about what they're doing with this movie with the characters. If we don't know the intentions of anyone anymore, like yes, we have the brief intentions, like oh villain hero basically, but you never know who might actually switch sides real quick. That's why I'm like wondering. I'm like, is Prowler secretly actually going to be sided with Miles?
Earth 42 Prowler?
Yes. The
He seems pretty evil.
honestly, I don't know.
I don't know.
I've seen some theories, that they they're sorry, they're definitely going to fight Miles and Prowler Miles. They're gonna fight just
Mm-hmm.
cause. But I have a feeling that maybe he's going to start to work with Miles in a sense of the only reason I feel like he's Prowler is because his world is like in shambles and his dad is gone. All he has is his uncle Aaron. All his uncle knows is being the Prowler. So he's probably doing it to honestly protect his mom and maybe protect others.
Oh, you're saying that he might come around in the next movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can
because I
believe
don't
that like there's
I
some good
see him
in
as like
him.
I see him maybe as like an anti-hero type thing.
Yeah. I thought you were I almost thought you were saying like he has good intentions for Miles in that final scene. I was like, I don't know.
No, not at all.
No, yeah, not at all. I feel like yeah, like I agree with Steven. They're probably definitely gonna have a fight, but then never like you never like it might honestly just free up protection.
I found it interesting that Prowler Miles, he asks our Miles if their dad is still alive, and he says yeah, and his only reaction is, "Huh." It's like he's
Your
not
dad.
even surprised that there's a version of himself from another dimension and that
Yeah.
his dad could die. It's he has a very non-interested reaction to all of it. So I'm like, what's the story there? Does he know about the multiversalisms and things like that?
That's what I was gonna say. That's very interesting because Aaron was already ready for it seemed like Aaron already knew that Miles wasn't his Miles.
Yeah,
So
he didn't seem
already he
surprised either, which is even more shocking.
So I feel like they might honestly my belief that they actually do know about the multiverse. They just never try to actually experience it. I'm also wondering if they know about the multiverse, maybe they could never got to it. But also, what if I wonder if he knows that the spider that bit Miles, like what Miles are watching, is supposed to actually be
Oh,
his Miles, be his spider.
that would
It
be an
also makes me
interesting
wonder.
conversation. Miles can tell him like, you were destined to be Spider-Man, but I took your spider.
Mhm. Yeah, and it also makes me wonder: would our Miles like would he become Prowler or would he just be an ordinary boy had he
I
not
think
became Spider-Man?
I think there are a number of things that led to this Miles becoming Prowler. I
Yeah.
think our Miles would have been if he did turn into Prowler, it would have taken a lot longer because he has his dad keeping him on the straight and narrow.
Oh yeah, he just his dad. Yeah.
I think this one was a combination of him losing his dad, him spending more time with Aaron, and his world like basically having no Spider-Man for him to look up to as a hero.
You know what? You know what makes sense then? Or you? Oh, what, Steven? Sorry.
I was going to say what I don't understand is this just a universe that Peter Parker doesn't exist?
Mm-hmm.
I
Because
presumably I didn't think of that actually.
it's just odd that you know that there's no Spider-Man at all. Because multiple universes, at least that we know, can have multiple Spider people.
Correct.
Um,
I mean, the Prime universe had two Spider-Men at one point.
exactly. Um, so it's just interesting that you know that there's no Spider-Man at all, or no hero, I should say, in that universe at all.
I I guess we just have to assume that if Peter Parker exists, he did not get bit. Maybe there's only one radioactive spider per universe, and this one got took, and so nobody got bit and nobody became Spider-Man. And I guess the Avengers, like, no hero exists either.
Mm.
You know, infinite universes, it's not impossible. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, the comics have a bunch of different times they enter the multiverse, so you know.
I mean, that's part of the reason why Miguel has to be wrong about like the whole canon event thing, because the nature of infinite universes means that there is a Spider-Man who is living his best life. Like all of his loved ones are alive. He hasn't suffered any tragedies. He's doing great. And that universe like is intact. So there's no way like there are things that every Spider-Man has to go through. Because remember, Earth 42 has no Spider-Man and it's still intact. And even though Miles supposedly is an anomaly who was never supposed to be Spider-Man and he got his Peter killed, his universe is still intact.
Honestly, if Miles's Peter was supposed to represent like the perfect Spider-Man, did he go through the same canon events?
Well, we know he definitely
I
lost his
know
Aunt.
that.
No, he didn't lose Aunt May. My bad. He lost Uncle Ben. I'm trying to think. Yeah, what tragedies did he have? I'm pretty sure it was just Uncle Ben. Other than that, his life was great. He got married. He had a spider bat cave. His Aunt May is still alive. I guess maybe omitting the spider themed restaurant was his canon event.
Oh my gosh. Real quick, I just want to say that I'm going to head out.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'm only heading out earlier now because it's starting to thunder and it's kind of crazy. So,
Real quick, do you want to plug yourself? Say what you do, where you can be found.
Oh, once again, once again, guys, you guys can find me on Instagram at can't test this. You might be able to put it into the description. Where else am I? Oh my gosh, that's the only place I'm on, right?
I think so. Test us.
I think so. I write poetry. I am about to. I haven't been writing in a while, but I'm working on a collection right now. I also do not mind helping with commissions as well, or helping with any type of writing, whether it's school or just writing in general with stories. I like to believe that I'm a good copywriter and proofreader. So, if you ever would like any help with that, feel free to message me.
Wonderful. Link will be in the description. Tess, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me again, Stephen and Eve. Definitely have a wonderful conversation. I'm going to definitely watch later again to listen to the rest of what you guys have to say. But thank you for having me, and I'll bid you guys a great day.
Yay. See you.
Bye.
And then there were two.
But got me curious. Where's Perry today? Now,
Perry has not seen the movie yet.
Mm.
I know. How dare they? I told them the same thing.
We'll have to get Perry's thoughts a different time. But
true.
now.
We were talking about Miguel. How much did you hear when you had to step out?
I didn't hear much. You know what? Yeah, I did not hear. What did you and Tess say?
I was saying, like, I think it's ironic that he is so hard on Miles for being an anomaly when he is like the most unlike Spider-Man out of them all. He gets caught off guard by Vulture because he doesn't have spider sense. He doesn't have the stickiness and the webs. If we're keeping in line with this comic origin, he he wasn't even bitten. He like
Yeah, he
genetically
was like
modified himself.
so. But does he get like a pass because he's from the future? Technically,
Well,
I don't know.
my theory is that he himself is an anomaly, and that's why, and he knows this, but like that's why he's so like abrasive towards Miles because he sees some of himself in him, and he's afraid he's going to do whatever damage he caused. I think that this is part of the real reason why the universe he went to got destroyed.
Because he's an anomaly.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe like there was a Spider-Man in that universe and he tried to be Spider-Man and that caused some multiversal flumes to destroy the whole thing. Or I don't know. Something.
Because when he was, in the other universe, it didn't collapse immediately. It's something that took over time, but he he himself was okay. So I feel like it was something else that caused that, accident to happen. You know?
But it sounds identical to the incursion from Doctor Strange 2. It's like if you stay in a universe that's not yours for too long, you sort of you put a timer on it basically. And I guess after
Mm,
enough time passes it gets destroyed. But why he wasn't destroyed, I have no idea. Maybe he blipped out in time because he had the wristwatch.
that is interesting. Um, Honestly, it's hard to say. I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so it's hard for me to like really say if, Miguel or like agree if he's like the anomaly or not. Similar to Miles, that maybe that's why he sees himself in Miles. Um, because I guess, since movie wise, it's like completely different thing, different rules. But in like the comics, multiple spider people can exist, even in like different universes.
Yeah, true. Um I'm not sure. I really think that there's something there's a missing piece to this story. Like there's something he's not telling us or maybe something he doesn't know. Because I think what supports it as well is there's a point where Miles is like, "You have claws? Are you sure you're even Spider-Man?" And Miguel doesn't address it right away. He's just goes straight to ripping into Miles.
Which is crazy because of what you said, where he modified his DNA.
Yeah, so by his own logic, this is the interesting part. By his own logic, he is not Spider-Man. Hmm. But I think he's probably my favorite example of like a hero who's in an antagonist role because they're wrong, but from what they understand to be true, they're acting perfectly like reasonable.
I agree. I've never seen Miguel as a bad guy. All he's truly trying to do is protect the multiverse.
Yeah, I just
But
see him as someone who's just doing what he believes is right.
I feel like it was very quick of him to assume what he, believes is canon events to be the actual cause of what happened.
Yeah, that's his
Because
mistake, and he's not willing to like compromise or explore
when
other ideas.
when he went into the alternate universe and he stayed there, he didn't know that it would have fallen apart. So that's like a mistake right there, that he didn't know He thought he could just walk in and everything would be okay, but that's not the case. I feel like this is another case where he feels like this is how it is, but it's actually not.
Well, I said this in my review. I think it's interesting to think about that he's doing this as a sort of like coping mechanism for the loss that he suffered. Like he has to tell himself that uh every spider person has to lose someone closest to him. He has to see this as something that had to happen because otherwise it's just a mistake that he made, and he suffered all that hardship for no reason other than like, life is unpredictable and these sort of things just happen. It has to be that like this is something that every Spider-Man has to go through. Because like it's played for a joke, but we saw this with the spider therapists. Like the Spider Society could be a really great like Spider-Man support group, but instead they have this toxic idea that they have to lose somebody close to them. I just see Miguel as someone who's very like broken and
And
desperate
that got
to
me.
not let history repeat itself.
And has me thinking about, Spider-Man of India. I cannot pronounce his name. I'm so sorry about that.
Uh,
You know who I'm talking about.
Pavitir Prabhakar,
That
something like that.
he didn't lose someone, but I don't think, yes, he didn't lose his captain, and we think that's the same thing of what happened to Miguel, in a sense of that happened very quickly, and it also happened in the city was caused by the spot. But since it happened right after Miles saved the captain, that it's easy to put the blame on Miles
Yeah,
instead.
correlation versus causation.
Yes,
I kind of want
because
to
when
talk
Miguel
about
first,
Pavitir.
my king,
Pavitir. Um, I think it's interesting that like he's probably in like the best shape any Spider-Man can be in. Like he lives a very easy double life, he's naturally good looking, he's talented, but it's kind of tragic in a way, but because he's only been Spider-Man for such a short amount of time.
that he was about to lose so much right away.
Yeah, he was going to lose either his girlfriend or the captain or both. Like losing both was a very real possibility.
Mm-hmm.
If it weren't for Miles and the others being there, that would have been a dark day in this man's career. Um, but luckily,
It's for,
he's able to keep his happiness because he was able to save both. But I'm sure, like no doubt, he's learned from this experience and it's changed him a little bit.
and sort of this goes back to Gwen, but that she was gonna let it happen as well.
Yep.
So I feel like this goes back to Miles being like, normally trying to change things, because I don't know what Hobie's thoughts were in the moment. If like, should we save anyone or should we let it happen? I feel like he was just sort of acting, just going through it, just seeing what happens.
Well, I mean, he's praises Miles for saving them.
That is true.
Because a lot of characters they have a different attitudes in regards to like fate and what you can do about it. Like I'm sure Miguel sees it as like one track. This is how it's supposed to be. Nothing you can do. And then Peter B, he is, like I said, he has a more optimistic view of it, that like tragedy is part of the process, but good things can come from it too. And then she starts off passive, but she comes around to like Miles's point of view that like it's anything is possible. I
Mm-hmm.
think Miles sees as like you have a choice. Like you can, nothing is written in stone. Even if it says things are supposed to go this way, and it might be hard to change it, but you can still try. And in fact, I think he would argue that you should try.
Yeah.
Spider-Man should try and do both.
And then there's Hobie, who's like, screw it.
Fuck it, we ball. Every line out of him is gold. I thought it was funny when Spot is about to enter the collider, and then Miles, he forms like a chain to stop them, and he's like, "Hey, nobody thinks you're a joke, right, guys?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, yeah." And Obi's like, "I don't believe in comedy." And then right after, we get another great joke. He does get absorbed, and like nothing happens for a bit, and then a puppeteer's like, "Well, another good job, well done for Spider-Man," and everyone's like, "No, no, no, no!" And the thing explodes because like they know by now, like you don't tempt fate when you're Spider-Man. You you keep your mouth shut during moments like that. It's almost like the Spot came back just to prove him wrong.
I
uh,
love the comedic timing in this movie.
the what?
The comedic timing,
Yeah, this
because I'm
movie's
thinking about
hilarious.
when it's not when like Jessica was saying like, Hobie, you're not making things better. He said good.
Good. It's very quick.
It was such a serious moment, but like that made me not only look up to him even more, but like it made me laugh.
It doesn't cut the tension either. Like you don't lose the weight of the scene. It's just like a
Yes.
quick moment of levity. The same thing also when he's like, "Just for the record, I quit," and he steps through the portal. Yeah, they balance tone really well in this movie. I also like the moment a lot when uh Miles is at the old Alchemax with Spot, and he's like explaining his origin to him, and he's like, "You see, I created you and you created me." And Miles's dad is there. He's like, "Spider-Man, why'd you create that
Oh,
guy?" It's just his delivery. He sounds like, you're talking to your friend who just like you finished all the Pringles. He's like, "Why'd you do that?" "I didn't. He's talking crazy." Yeah, this
I'm
movie
trying to
did
think.
not need to go so hard.
Is there anything else that we haven't covered?
Uh
Oh, Donald Glover, Childish Gambino.
oh, I talked about this with
Um,
Tess briefly.
that did you know that his scene in the movie was done only 2 months prior to the release?
I did not know this.
It's crazy because he was the inspiration for Miles. And I
Yeah.
forgot to tell Tess this that like growing up there wasn't a Miles. Miles was created back in like 2011.
Yeah, and it was because didn't Donald Glover say like, "I want a black Spider-Man, I'll play him"?
Yes, it was around the time before Andrew Garfield was casted as Spider-Man. Like there are thoughts of like, oh, what if he's Spider-Man instead? He didn't get it
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
but because of that, I forget his first name, but the writer Bendis decided to create Miles.
Yep, and Donald Glover did get to play Aaron in the MCU.
And I love that too because it was very. I don't think we know until the after credit scene, but I just love like he. I don't. Did he ever say his name was Aaron? we from what I remember, all he said is like he can't make it home. Like he was talking to Miles on the phone,
Yeah.
and just the name drop alone was like, oh shoot, this is Aaron.
Even before that, it's very subtle because when Tom Holland is interrogating him, he says, "I have a nephew who lives around here," and that's enough to like piece it together. But there is a deleted scene where he mentions Miles by name, which is neat. Although I was saying I don't think this is the one in prison in the movie is not the same one from the MCU.
Yeah, no, because I feel like they would have introduced him already in the MCU, but I'm not entirely sure. Maybe
Yeah.
they will in the future.
He didn't get to become Prowler yet because he first of all he doesn't have the accent in Homecoming, and then he's like a low level street criminal. I think
Yeah.
he even says like I just want somebody to like hustle somebody with. I'm not trying to send them back in time or anything like that.
I saw some like theories that on how they could introduce Uncle Aaron as a Prowler in the MCU, and it could be because of the snap and like everyone blipping for 5 years. That it could be like he lost Miles, um or Miles's dad disappeared as well, and that made him go towards becoming the Prowler to try to like get money to support his family.
Yeah, he might have gone on like a Hawkeye arc where he just starts killing people for money.
I feel like there's a whole other conversation of like what they could do so much with the blip, but they don't.
They won't. Such a missed opportunity. Um oh, I wanted to talk about this topic with you. What do you think about Jessica and Peter carrying their babies into battle?
Um, First, the hate is very one-sided, and okay, Jessica's pregnant, but Peter has a little baby also, but I see no hate towards Peter bringing the baby, but I see hate towards Jessica riding a motorcycle in a fight.
Here's
Um,
the thing. I take issue with both of them.
I was just about to say I do agree that neither of them should be there, but it's like we should if one is there, the other I don't like I'm not trying to say Peter could be there and Jessica not. It's like get rid of both of them basically
Yeah.
from the field.
Um Peter's I'm particularly frustrated with cuz um there's a line, and him bringing his baby into like basically multiverse Spider-Man Civil War is a little over the line for what I would believe he would do, especially since we find out MJ asked him not to bring his baby. I don't know. I know we wanted to have Dad Peter and he wanted to show Miles the baby, but if there was like a Spider Society daycare, I'd be cool with that. But this we can't be bringing the baby into other dimensions and stuff like that. Someone pointed this out. Um he actually brings her along to like rescue Miles in the end, and but she doesn't have the watch. She has a day pass.
Yes.
So after a day she's going to start glitching, right? Or does how the day
Yeah,
pass works is like it only keeps you from glitching and nothing else?
I think that after the day pass runs out, either they get a new day pass or maybe there's a way to like refresh it so that way they don't have to, get rid of one and then get a new one, if that makes sense.
Let's hope so, because otherwise Peter is a really irresponsible dad. And then
Uh,
Jessica Drew fighting while she's pregnant. I would be okay with it if she was like if she's characterized as someone who's really reckless and like other characters advise her not to do that. They're like, no, just stay here and like look at screens and stuff like that. But I think the movie wants us to think she's like badass and cool for doing all this while pregnant.
Yes, I agree. Um, I don't know. I feel like there'll probably be even more hate towards her if they're like, oh, why couldn't she just listen to this person and just stay at the base? Why did they want one? I see a lot of hate because, if she was white, the amount of hate would not have been the same.
Yeah.
So why do they want to make this black woman so empowering is what I basically see people saying.
Mm-hmm. The thing is though, if they if they did what I said and have her just be a reckless person, I'd be cool with that. And the people who still hate on her would be stupid. I mean, if they're hating on her now because she's a black woman being empowered, they're stupid anyway. But
Yes.
even more so. And like, I just think it's weird because there's a strong theme in this movie about like parenthood, but like Jessica's baby doesn't come up ever again.
I have this weird theory or feeling that she's gonna give birth sometime in this next movie because she's so like late in the pregnancy where it looks like, it's any moment now.
Yeah. But like in the later scenes after the intro, does she even have the pregnant belly or no?
I feel like she has a pregnant belly throughout the entire movie. Does she not?
I don't know. There are some. I mean, we don't always get a good look at her, but I feel like at some point she loses it, or I'm not
Hmm.
sure.
No, I'm pretty sure she still has the pregnant belly after the intro. Um, Solely because why I feel like there'll be less hate if people didn't see it so constant, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like, and also, unless she just really likes a motorcycle, I feel like we'd see her web swing a lot more.
that's true too. I guess I'll have to watch it again. But I remember like the pregnant belly being a lot less noticeable. Because the whole controversy started because we got that scene where it's her intro scene
Yeah.
where Gwen says, "Can you adopt me?"
And some people hated that line too. I loved it.
I thought it was funny. Why do people not like it?
Mhm. Um, Sexism. I don't know. I really don't. I think I saw some stuff about it being woke or something. I feel like people just call
Okay.
anything woke.
I don't know what that means anymore. I don't think I ever did.
I don't think they know either. You ask someone define woke, they won't know.
Oh, wasn't there a viral clip where someone asked what does woke mean and then the girl just like she just fumbled for 30 seconds. She couldn't say it.
I I need to see that
I've seen it
video.
on I've seen it. I'll send it to you. It's hilarious. She even says like, "Oh, this clip is going to go viral, isn't it?" It's like, "Yup." I think the only significant character we haven't talked about is Miles himself.
Hmm. I'm surprised. In my head I was thinking we'll talk about Miles early on, but best for last.
Might be fitting to save him for last. Um, he was great in this movie. It's a natural step for the sequel. You know, the first movie is about him learning to trust himself and getting over his imposter syndrome and believing that he can be Spider-Man and anyone can wear the mask. So this movie's going to be about like testing that. Um, he accept that he's Spider-Man, but will his parents? And he
Or
meets
will
people who believe that he shouldn't be Spider-Man, and he comes face to face with himself. What would have happened if he hadn't gotten bitten, or like what potentially could have happened. But through and through, he still decides how his story's going to end. He's gonna be the Spider-Man that does both. He's gonna save his dad and the multiverse. Um, yeah, he's an idealist, and he's wearing that on his sleeve. He's not going to let anybody take Spider-Man away from him.
King.
King, I loved watching him. He is surprisingly good at being a Spider-Man. I was impressed with him at so many moments. Especially the chase scene. The whole time I was wondering, why isn't he going invisible? Why isn't he going invisible? And then when he's on the train, I realize, oh my god, he wants them to see him.
I was thinking the same exact thing, because he could have easily avoided them if he wanted to, but he was planning it out the entire time.
Yeah, he goes out of his way to like attract the attention of as many spider people as he can to get them all on the train. And then when he hops off, he goes invisible. I was like, oh, that is sick. Yeah, Miles is
Some
really smart, and everyone in the movie sleeps on him. I think even like Miguel and Peter and Gwen, they all assume that he doesn't have a plan, but he did.
I forget. I don't know his reason for going to the school he's in now. Like what? Because I think in the comics he goes to this very prestigious school because he won a lottery. I don't know if that's the same thing that applies in this, but
There's a
any
line in the
version of
first movie
Miles,
where he says, "I only got in because I won that lottery." But like, he obviously is very smart. He's qualified.
yeah, no matter which version of Miles you look at, it's always like he's a smart kid.
Yeah.
Um, it makes me think about like the game version as well, where there's like little random like I guess dialogue of Peter and Miles talking how they always do like a lot of math equations in their head to calculate for like each web swing, and how it's always the calculations that Peter does is in his head is different than what Miles has to do because of like a lot of science stuff I honestly don't know.
Yeah, we already have references for this Miles being smart. Like that scene where he tries to quit the school and he gets all the answers wrong. I think that's a really good example of being book smart rather than street smart, I suppose.
Yes.
There's also that time where he
Something
tries to play dumb and he says, "Who's Morales?"
who's and maybe that's what's the difference between um this Miles and Earth 42 Miles. Because I feel like Earth 42 Miles being raised more by Uncle Aaron is going to be a lot more street smart than our Miles.
Yeah, probably. But imagine how scary it would be if he was book smart too.
I mean, I feel like he's definitely some sort of book smart because in that one like little scene that we see that the spider was supposed to bite him, we do see him like
Oh,
I
true.
want to
The flashback.
studying that.
Yeah, he's at
Yeah, the flashback.
school.
So he's definitely somewhat smart, but I have this idea of maybe he had to drop out because of how messed up his world is.
Yeah, yeah, probably.
And I talked about this with you, but just to say on the podcast that Earth 42 Miles has a completely different voice actor. Um, not only that, Dominican voice actor to really emphasize the, he was raised in a house that's primarily, Spanish speaking because his dad is gone. So there's less English in that house.
Yep. He did not get that B in Spanish. And
Maybe it'd be in English.
maybe. I didn't know that it was a different actor. I genuinely thought it was the same.
At first, I thought so too. I only saw this because of a TikTok I saw. Um, and I just love the joke of, when Rio says that she heard that the uh Spider-Man in Brooklyn is Puerto Rican, and Miles says, "Oh, I heard he's more Dominican."
Yeah. That pays
It
off.
just it just brings it all back together in a way that you don't know until you look at like the cast.
Yeah, real subtle foreshadowy bits like that.
And
Like,
also, we like mentioned it, but I don't know. I forget how much detail we went into it. How there's different versions of the movie out.
yeah. I'm pretty sure I saw the version where Lila takes a selfie, but
I want to say I saw that version as well, and it seems like for the most part, it's mainly the dialogue that's different. Maybe some subtle animation differences here and there, but from what I've seen, it's mainly the dialogue. But I do want to watch it
mm-hmm.
again to see if I get an alternate version of it.
The question is, what's going to happen when they release this on digital?
That's a very good question. I've seen some people like maybe give you like the option to choose which version you see, version one, version two, or both.
Bring back
Um,
DVD menus.
Maybe randomize it in the sense of you press play and you don't know which version you'll get, but I don't know if all that information will be able to fit on a CD.
Maybe every copy of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse will be personalized, like Super Mario
Oh,
64. They're gonna be like, "Oh, you didn't see the Ligma cut where Miles says Ligma to Miguel? You download DLC for the movie." I have the cut where Miguel calls Miles the N word.
hello,
Yeah. Hello,
Ape.
Steven. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hang on. I'm coming, Steven.
You're here now.
All
Hello.
right. Sweet. I was saying I get the cut where Miguel calls Miles the N word. It's very exclusive. He just slips it right in there. Oh, there was something else I want to talk about that I think this movie does really well. Cause like something that's been annoying me about the MCU lately is that like their new habit is they like they blow up the stakes to like ridiculous proportions where it's like it's hard to care about anything. Everything now is just it's the fate of the multiverse. It's the fate of the multiverse. This world and every world. So like when in Avengers 1, Loki threatens the world, right? It's like, why do we care? It's like, well, there are people we care about in the world. It's like, okay, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thanos threatens the universe. It's like, why do we care? It's like, well, now we know there's a whole like galaxy's worth of people that we care about. There's like the Guardians, Captain Marvel, all of them. And now it's we you get to like Multiverse of Madness. It's like Scarlet Witch is gonna destroy the multiverse. It's like, why do we care? It's like because that would be bad. Uh, my thing is like when an entire universe is already hard for us to conceive, but then like when you throw into multiverse, you have an infinite number of that, and like infinity is something that we have trouble comprehending. So
Yeah.
it's hard to, it doesn't feel personal. It feels very impersonal. So I really like in this movie, first of all, I like the line from Peter B where he says, you say the fate of the multiverse and my brain dies. Cause it's like, that's it. That's how I feel. But this movie, it does it really well because it weighs it against something personal that we do care about. It's like we understand that the multiverse being destroyed would be bad, so they give the main character a choice where it's like lose everything or lose someone that you care about a lot. And it helps us be more sympathetic to Miles, even though his goal is it's technically like it's petty in the grand scale,
Yeah.
because we care about Miles and his relationships. We want to see his relationship with his dad improve. We want them to reach a better place. So he's technically trying to have it all, and Jefferson, his dad losing his life, is what's going to keep the multiverse intact. But it's like, Miles is like, I don't care. Like, that's my dad. And it makes it easier for us to root for him. This is something that Everything Everywhere All at Once did too, because that had a threat to the multiverse, but like it was the main character's daughter. Because the whole like all the multiverse stuff, it was all dressing for a family drama. Because the whole conflict was between the mom and the daughter, and when they solved one, it ended up solving the grand problem as well. So basically, what I'm saying is this is how you do Fate of the Multiverse. Make it personal.
I'm trying to think back to Doctor Strange and, Scarlet Witch multiverse stuff. I feel like they tried to make it personal in the sense of her trying to get her kids back, but I don't know. The way they went about it just
I mean,
didn't really
the kids
care.
weren't real. And like multiple
Yeah.
characters tell her that, and she's just like, I don't care. I'm
And
pretty
then there
sure.
is,
Go ahead.
go ahead. I was going to say that there are universes where they are real or they do exist.
I
And
think the movie
so,
wanted us to like sympathize with Wanda, but like she had access to the multiverse. That means she could have just went to a universe where the kids just recently lost their mom, and she could just replace her. But for some reason, she
exactly.
insists on killing a woman who already exists and stealing her kids. Like, she treats it like that's the only option. Like, that movie is so broken for so many reasons. Because Doctor Strange tells her that her kids weren't real. They were made with magic, and she goes, "That's what every mother does." It's like, what the hell does that mean? Are you saying you don't see the difference between like someone giving birth biologically and someone just like conjuring kids with magic? Because if that's true, then just meet somebody and settle down with them and get pregnant and have babies. Or or like Wanda's living in a like remote location already at that point. Just create another like magic bubble where you're not hurting anyone and just make your kids again.
Honestly, does she even need like the magic bubble? The way she was presented was like she was this all powerful being, the Scarlet Witch, she could do
Yeah, I honestly
anything.
don't think you're right, actually. I don't think she needs the bubble at that point. Like, she can control reality. Like, it doesn't get more overpowered than that. I honestly think she could just create them, flesh and bone.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like what you're saying, how Spider Verse does giant like multiverse destruction problems, but make it personal. I agree that the way they went about it is great.
One person that you care
Sure.
about or the entire multiverse. That's how you do it.
And I guess I feel like it's getting harder to relate to, I guess, Marvel in general because they keep upping like the stakes. Like I sort of miss just like low level villains just destroying the neighborhood, you know?
Even like I don't even have to go that far. Like I almost miss like Thanos. Like when Infinity War came out, it was like, oh my god, this is it. This is the universe. Like this is as big as it gets. And now it seems so like it seems small in comparison.
It does. Especially because what happened in like the MCU only affects their universe. Like Thanos snapping that only affected the MCU, and then what happened with No Way Home, um, is mentioned in Spider Verse that Miguel was upset about it, but it didn't affect anyone else. You know,
Yeah, exactly. Like the MCU keeps forgetting what the word infinite means. It's like you're destroying this world and every world, and you don't even seem to take it all that seriously. Like Doctor Strange knows that the multiverse is in danger, but he doesn't call like Ant-Man, Spider-Man, Hawkeye because he decides that they're too lame. It's like, what are you talking about? Thanos threatened the universe and you called everybody you know to try and help. And now the multiverse is in danger and you just get like some sorcerers with like magic bow and arrows and shit. It's like I have a hard
I
time caring about these stakes when like the characters don't seem to care.
I feel like that's a part of Marvel's problem right now because they have all these characters in one location. All these characters are in New York. If they were around the world, that'll be a bit different. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like right down the block, you could get like 5 more heroes to help you out.
Yeah, they have more characters than they know what to do with, and they keep having to account for like, why didn't Spider-Man help out with this? Why didn't Captain America help out with this? Because they're all in like Fate of the Multiverse, dude. I don't care if Hawkeye is just a guy with a bow and arrow. Like you need to be calling everybody. You need to be calling everybody you know. Like Hawkeye should be there. Falcon should be. Fucking Bob the Builder should be there. He should be, throwing wrenches at people. I don't care. Like this is the biggest the stakes have ever been. Yeah. Fuck that movie. Trying to think.
I feel like we've pretty much talked about it all, or at least the overall most important parts.
Yeah, every significant character, some themes, um, jokes, music. I
There
think that's
was
it.
there was something I saw about um the two cakes that Miles was trying to take for his dad's like party. How it was like an analogy to what he's going through. That he's trying to have both. He's trying to have two cakes, trying to save his dad, trying to save the multiverse. But by the end, both cakes are destroyed. So, and then
Oh,
his mom says like, go where you have to go, and when you come back, make sure you have one cake.
cake. Yeah, come back with a cake. One cake. Oh my god. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Because even in the beginning, the counselor lady's like, your son is trying to have your cake and can't have his cake and eat it too. And he says, unless you have two cakes. Yeah,
And so
that's
maybe in
true.
the next movie, my no, 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 no. I was going to say maybe in the next movie, Miles will make a decision, but then I feel like if he chooses one or the other, that would uh not ruin this movie, but mess up the message of this movie.
Yeah,
If that
because
makes sense.
depending on what happens, it could undermine his because I think the film wants us to think Miles is right for wanting to do both in this movie. In the case of his dad or the multiverse, I think he's gonna come out on top and be able to say both, but there is going to be an instance where he realizes he can't have it both ways. I just don't think it'll be that particular case.
I agree. He might stay with his family, but not really care about the Spider Society.
Yeah, he's gonna lose something. He's not gonna have it all. But he'll realize, like, I have what's important to me, that sort of thing. That's what I predict.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of Spider Bite?
Spider Bite was Penny, right?
No, she
Oh
was
no no
the
no no no.
Avatar.
Yes, the Avatar. Yes, I remember. She was amazing in the sense of she didn't know Miles, but she had a gut feeling he might be doing the right thing, and she helps him out.
Yep, they shared one scene, and when he's trying to go in the machine, he gives her a look like, please, please do this for me. And she lets him leave. She came in clutch.
I forget. Did she know about Miles before? I mean, I feel like all Spider people know about Miles, but did she message or did she say that she like heard of Miles and was a big fan, or am I like misremembering?
No, that was Sun Spider. That was the one on the wheelchair. That was a different
Mm,
one. That's a good question though. If Margot knew that Miles is a person non grata at the Spider Society, she
the only
seemed to
reason
like
I feel
him.
like yes, the only reason I feel like every Spider person knew was when Hobie asks Gwen, "Did you tell Miles about like himself or like why he can't be a part of it? Like how much did he tell? How much did she tell about Miles about the Spider Society?" And then he realized, she didn't tell him much.
Well, yeah, she
So,
downplays a lot of things. She said it's just like a small elite group, and they have
hmm
limited slots. But she'll try and put
and
in a good word for him.
that's when Hobie. I feel like that's when Hobie's like, okay, he has to step in to tell Miles like what's up.
Yeah, he starts to get
You know.
into his head a little bit, trying to figure out like what he values and see if he's even like a good fit for the society. Because I think he even asked him like, why do you want to join? You have a good life. You have parents who love you. What do you want? Be your own boss. You don't need all this. But of course,
hmm
Miles only wants in because he wants to watch, because he wants to visit his friends in the multiverse. I think Hobie says, make your own watch.
And I love that Hobie makes his own. I didn't
Yeah.
even. I noticed that he was stealing parts here and there, but I thought it was just because of who he is.
Yeah, I thought it was for fun.
I didn't realize that's him making his own watch or getting the parts.
Yeah,
And
Hobie is a bro.
I feel like every spider person is a genius to some extent. You know,
Absolutely. They're all smarties.
to make your own interdimensional watch out of just parts,
That's
crazy.
huge. And it works. And he tells Miles about using his palms instead of just his fingers for the venom strike, and that's his way
That
of getting out of the The bubble.
That's something I was curious about on how did he know about that ability? Yes, he saw Miles use it, but even when he was first introduced, he told Miles to, use the palms, not the tips of your finger. How did Hobie break the barrier while Miles was still like charging up his attack?
Well, Miles, his Venom Strike lets him like absorb energy now, so I assumed he had weakened the barrier, which let Hobie,
Hobie break it.
bust through it.
Okay, because in my head I was thinking, oh, like maybe Hobie has some sort of electrical powers as well. That's why he knows so much like tips about it.
I had wondered if it was something to do with his guitar.
Maybe.
But it is interesting that he tells Miles how to use his Venom Strike better. I guess he just assumed that the palm would be more powerful than just the fingers. But that raised the
He's a
question of why
genius.
hasn't Miles tried that already?
That is true.
I don't know. But I do like when Miles destroys his prison. Everyone's kind of blown away except Hobie, and he's just kind of like, "Heh." It's exactly what he wanted. He was waiting for the right time to, spark an insurrection.
Mm-hmm.
He did not believe in Spider Society from the beginning, but he just kind of gets by because everyone thinks his anti-establishment attitude is all talk.
Yep.
It really works in his favor that everyone thinks he's just a clown.
Before I even saw the movie, I saw comments saying like, he's the MVP. Like he was the best part of the whole movie. I thought maybe they were just joking, like, oh, choosing your favorite spider person. But I genuinely believe if he wasn't there, uh things would have ended up a lot differently, especially for
He's
Miles.
pivotal to the plot. He is the one who pushes the plot in a particular direction.
Yes.
They probably wouldn't have gotten through that barrier first of all, and if they made it to the Spider Society, I think Miles would have been kept contained.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's the reason that whole chase scene is allowed to happen. I guess I'd like to see more Jessica Drew in the next movie, because I feel like there's some things about her that's like missing. Like
I want to see her husband.
yeah, I want to meet her husband. I want to know what happened with what's going on with the baby, because I feel like that might have something to do with, maybe her family life has something to do with, because in the beginning she's almost inviting to Gwen, and she like vouches for her for Miguel to let her in, but for the rest of the movie she's very cold and distant.
Yeah. I was going to say potentially maybe something happened at home because there is a couple month time jump between Gwen getting in and then first meeting Miles.
Yep.
But we'll see. Do you have a favorite um side spider character that was in the movie but didn't really have a major role, if that makes sense? Like Spectacular Spider-Man from the animated series was there. Spider-Man Unlimited. I seen a lot of different like noticeable costumes.
Yep.
Uh
PS4 Spider-Man.
yes, Insomniac Spider-Man. I, I love that he was there. Um
I liked Metro Boomin
Ben Wright.
Spider-Man.
Who?
I like Metro Boomin Spider-Man.
Mm. No, it's fun. I didn't know that that was Spider-Man. Well, that was him until
Me neither.
um after.
You got nowhere to run. My bad,
Um,
guys. He did have somewhere to run. Yeah, I didn't know that was him. I thought he was just a random spider person. um, my favorite one though, I don't know. I did like Spectacular Spider-Man a lot growing up. I'm glad he got a line here.
Same, and then it was the original voice actor too, Josh Keaton.
Yeah, pretty sick.
And there's a whole different story about him and like how Disney/Marvel did him incredibly dirty at the time.
Well, yeah, they
Um,
canceled his show, didn't they?
they canceled his show, which was supposed to get renewed for I think a third season, but they didn't let him know at all. Um, and but they did invite him to come back one last time at I think Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes or something to
Mm-hmm.
be the voice actor of Spider-Man, one final time as a send off in some way. But when he went to go watch the video or the episode to see his final moments, it wasn't his voice. They had Drake Bell come in and redo the lines that Josh Keaton said.
Whoa.
And then that's when they announced that Drake Bell's Ultimate Spider-Man was
Ultimate
coming out.
Spider-Man.
Like right there. And it was like like they just did him incredibly dirty.
Damn.
I'm happy they were able to get him back for this.
Well, yeah, like they this the team behind these movies, they care. I can tell there's a lot of care for this character's legacy.
There's a lot of care, but there's also a lot of mistreatment that I've heard.
Oh yeah, for the animators, right?
Yes, at least 100 animators ended up quitting over uh the work environment, whereas like 11 hours a day, 7 days a week.
My God. It's so rough to hear about it because like the end product is amazing. It's one thing when it's like the newest MCU movie, it's like the CGI will be horrible and the animators are overworked. But
Mm-hmm.
what we get is incredible. But when you hear like what happened behind the scenes, it's like damn.
So I'm pretty sure the next movie is going to get delayed, which is sad, but I'd rather it get delayed for a couple years to make sure it's another good movie comes out.
Well, I'm okay with it getting delayed if the animators don't have to work crunch.
Yes, that too.
And of course, if the movie's good. Because I assume that's why it would get delayed.
I think
Mm.
the voice of Gwen um said that she hasn't done any of her lines yet for the next movie.
Oh,
That anything she's done was like test um before the movie was split into two.
right, right. Because this was supposed to be one movie split into two, right? It wasn't supposed to be a trilogy, even though that's what it is.
Yeah, this was supposed to be just one long movie, but I guess they didn't want to cut out parts of their story. They really want to keep all of it in, and so they decided to go with the two-part, or at least that's what I'm assuming happened.
We're also getting a like a Spider-Woman spin-off movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, I wish Tess was here because they were saying they wanted to see Silk. Silk's gonna be in it.
Really?
Yeah, it's gonna be Spider-Gwen, Spider-Woman, and Silk.
And it's going to be like the same animation as this movie, or it's going
Yeah,
to be like
yeah.
a.
Same continuity.
Oh. Okay, I'm going to text Tess after this.
Word. Yeah. I think I got it all out of my system.
Yeah.
This movie is great. I liked it a lot. Go watch it if you haven't. If you haven't and like this was your way of like experiencing the movie, it's like damn.
We did not do it justice.
I
No
don't
matter
think
what
so.
we say, can never compare to the movie.
Correct. All right, well, 2 hours, 10 minutes. I'm happy to cut it off here.
Okay.
Um, uh, Steven, where are you? What are you doing currently? Do you want to plug yourself? Why should people subscribe/follow you?
I'm
Come
not
on,
going to
tell
plug myself because I'm different. I don't
'em.
believe in society's standards of social media and titles and nah,
You're not like other girls, is what you're saying?
nah. I'm gonna go do my own thing.
All right, well, Steven has an art account. You can follow that. It'll be in the description.
Yes, I do have an art account. Trying to make art whenever I can. Particularly concept art. Um, I'm not gonna plug myself because at the moment I'm sort of just lurking in social media, but I'll come back eventually.
Well, you can catch Steven lurking in the description. Other than that, Steven, thank you very much for joining me today and talking about this incredible film.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me.
No problem. We hope to have you back for the sequel.
100%.
All right, my man. Take care.
Okay. Goodbye.
Goodbye to you all. We will see you
Bye.
next time on Haters Without a Cause, and Perry will be back, I promise. All right. Bye-bye.